All right. What other poll questions do we have there?
Well, there's still a grass versus turf debate raging, Dan.
That's Rage Against the Machine, too.
That is Rage Against the Machine, isn't it?
I think there's 16 stadiums that have grass, 14 that have turf. I believe that's the case. And there are some analysts who have looked at the play with Aaron Rodgers and said if he was playing on natural turf, would the turf have given a little bit? And instead, his leg took the brunt of that hit. I don't know. The head coach of the Jets, Robert Saleh, talked about turf versus grass.
Any concerns over the turf at MetLife Stadium?
No. If it was a non-contact injury, I think that'd be something to discuss, obviously. But I think that was trauma-induced. I do know the players prefer grass, and there's a lot invested in those young men.
I agree. It's all about player safety until it comes to the bottom line, and that is money. And that is these stadiums and these owners, when you have concerts, and then you have a football game, and then you have concerts, and then a football game. It's a whole lot easier when you have turf as opposed to artificial turf as opposed to grass. That's what this comes down to. If you said this is a football-only field, won't be used for any concerts, they would have grass. But they're making money. They're in the business of making money. Hey, we hope you stay safe, but we're in the business of making money. I don't know if Woody Johnson, the owner of the Jets, goes, oh, my God. Because he can't even do anything. It's not even his stadium. It's the Giants stadium. You'd have to have the ownership, the Mara family, and Woody Johnson get together and go, you know what? Can we do something where we roll in artificial turf? Roll out a regular grass? I don't know. But this is big business. But you can have grass indoors. Arizona has grass, indoor stadium. And I think, the numbers show that the number of injuries increase with artificial turf. And artificial turf has improved greatly. I remember back in this is late 70s, being on the Cincinnati AstroTurf. And I'm thinking, if you fell on this, Philadelphia, Veteran Stadium, that was like concrete. And it had these seams there that if you got caught in one of those seams, you could rip up your knee. But it was all cost efficient. Yeah, Paulie.
I heard a couple of NFL quarterbacks talk about this on radio yesterday. They said the other reason the NFL probably loves turf is that it looks nice. It's real pretty. Because some places like Chicago Bears had grass before, and it was almost always a mess. They would get rain, it'd be a disaster. But then this guy who was talking said, it may not look that nice, and there might be little holes and things like that, but there's give. Even a sloppy field has give. I'm not going to plant my foot and have that go up my leg. There's no give on turf.
And I've been on that turf at Green Bay, at Lambeau, in late December, early January. They painted the dirt. I mean, it's not pretty, but it is Lambeau. And you're right. When, they love the aesthetics of the NFL. The NFL loves the way it looks in your uniform, and it's got to be, your socks got to be up here, and everything's got to look great. It's a visual. It's meant for TV. And do you want to have a sloppy turf there? Remember with the formerly known Washington Redskins?
Sure.
With that stadium? And you'd be like, that is an injury waiting to happen. I remember watching a couple of games there. I think Carolina played there. I'm like, this is criminal. It was terrible. I think RG3 got hurt with that turf there. Did the NFL Players Association put out a statement about artificial turf? I keep seeing some articles that, go back to when Odell Beckham Jr. suffered a torn ACL while playing in the Super Bowl. SoFi, turf stadium. Non-contact injury, but I'm sure that the head of the Players Association is, against this, that they want to have natural turf, but they have to understand the business side of this. Now they can say, well, what about the business side of keeping your players healthy? Yes, but they also look at the bottom line business side of things with the other events, concerts that you have. But, we want to blame somebody. That's the issue here. The NFL Players Association, the executive director, Lloyd Howell, had a statement earlier this morning moving all stadium fields to high-quality natural grass Easiest decision that the NFL can make. Players overwhelmingly prefer this. Makes no sense. Stadiums can flip over to superior grass surface when the World Cup comes or soccer clubs come. You know, Seton mentioned this about Messi. Lionel Messi will not play on AstroTurf. He will, and he was going to be scheduled to play in some stadiums in the United States. And Seton goes, he's not going to play there.
As soon as he signed and all of their tickets sold out, I remember thinking immediately New England Revolution fans are going to be very upset when they find out Messi's not stepping 1 foot on that turf.
Yeah.
And like Zlatan Ibrahimovic wouldn't play. A lot of the guys that come over from Europe refuse to play on turf because they don't want to get hurt. Messi is just obviously the biggest name. He makes the most headlines.
So the NFLPA, the executive director, is saying what is obvious, that these surfaces are unacceptable for their players, and they need to have the investment. Needs to happen now. Okay, sounds great. When is the collective bargaining agreement up again? It's a long time from now. Are the owners just going to go, yep, let's do it? I don't think so. Because how much money are you making from hosting these concerts there? I mean, MetLife Stadium? Yeah, it's Springsteen a couple of times, Taylor Swift a couple of times. I mean, you're talking, Beyonce, Ed Sheeran. You're talking millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. Yes, Eden.
The problem that they're going to, well, it's not going to be a problem necessarily, but that excuse isn't really valid anymore because there are stadiums all over the world that do flip between the two.
Yeah, I think making the investment, and how much is that investment, and can you get your money's worth out of that? I mean, I don't know what it would cost to have a surface where you either change it over, you had something that rolls in and rolls out. Arizona, they have natural turf. The Cardinals do. Raiders do. You can do both. Yeah, Paulie.
I went back and looked. I can find articles from the past 12 years. NFLPA asked teams to change to natural grass 2020. Brian Urlacher and the Bears lobby for grass, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I could find these every other year, and it's based off an injury. Von Miller one year. Then what the NFL will do, will ignore this, say we'll look into it in the offseason, and hopefully something else is the lead next week. That's what they do. They're good at this.
Yes, they are.
They're professionals.
Yes. That's like, hey, we got a game coming up on Thursday. Now, what happens is we normally wait until something bad happens before we have change. So now you have Aaron Rodgers get hurt. This isn't a linebacker. This isn't a defensive back. It's not a wide receiver. It's Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if this kind of spurs the Giants and Jets owners to say, you know what? Let's be ahead of this. Let's get out there. Let's have natural turf there. I don't know if that's going to happen. Because then they have to spend, and I don't know if they want to spend. Yeah, Paulie.
This is in no way a direct comparison, but reaction of a league. When Dale Earnhardt Sr. died, NASCAR went in a totally different direction with safety, with soft walls, Hans device requirements, so on and so forth. But it took something extreme to happen. This is not that, clearly. But it does take leagues to react, usually something extreme. And Rodgers is extreme-ish for the NFL, from a big star, big market, gone for a season.
Because you would have thought that Odell Beckham in the Super Bowl, non-contact, and he blows out his knee. And he's a big star. That would have been enough where, okay, maybe some of these owners go, I don't want that to happen, not to my star player. It just feels like the owners feel like these players are so interchangeable that it's like, they don't necessarily worry about that long term. Yes,
that's exactly what I was thinking. Is that we're talking about a difference between all of the examples you just gave and the Aaron Rodgers example is that players in the NFL are completely replaceable at any moment. They're completely undervalued and sort of like it's like cattle. Like, all right, just get the next guy out there. Who cares?
I remember the first time I went to the Boston Garden, the old Boston Garden, and they had gaps in between the parquet floor, and you could put like a roll of quarters in between one of the inserts, and I'm thinking, wait, this is the Boston Garden? Like, I was so disappointed. It's one of those where you watch it on TV and you go, God, that looks gorgeous. Then you get there and you go, damn, how does somebody not get hurt here? And I remember going into the locker room, and I go, my high school locker room was better than the visiting locker room at the Boston Garden. When the Lakers, and then they wouldn't have hot water either. I just kept thinking, how does the NBA let them get away with it? Man, that's just Red Auerbach being Red Auerbach there. That's gamesmanship. They had hooks for the Lakers. When Magic hit the hook shot at the Garden, and I remember going in there and they were celebrating, and I go, damn, this is an NBA locker room. It just, and then you'll see, these colleges where Oregon's locker room, Texas's locker room, they take care of them. But sometimes you look at what they do for some of these stadiums and the surface. How you could ever play football on the AstroTurf at the Vet, I have no idea. Of just when you fell, it was cement. It was almost like it was painted green, cement painted green, but it was called AstroTurf. Yes, Marv.
All those stadiums, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, it looked like it was just carpet.
Yes. When
I started watching football, like, oh, man, when men were men, now this is stupid.
And then they would get the AstroTurf burns. I mean, that you have turf toe. That Dion, had turf toe. Jack Lambert's career ended due to turf toe.
They enjoyed tearing their own Achilles back then.
Yeah.
They tore them before the season to get ahead of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, Marv.
Didn't Michael Irvin end his career in Philadelphia?
Yes.
Basically, like landing on cement.
That was Sterling Sharp. Sterling Sharp, I think, he got injured that way too.
There's a Bears player, Wendell Davis, years ago. He was a wide receiver. He was at the Vet. He tore both patella tendons from his knees, both at the Eagles field.
Yeah. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know, was it Michael Irvin who landed on his neck?
Yes,
at the
kind of head first into the turf.
And then Shannon Sharp's brother, Sterling, I think he got injured that way. Yes, Tom.
Didn't some guys make the most of the AstroTurf, like third baseman and shortstop, that would bounce it to first base instead of throwing it wildly on the fly? I'm sure you saw many Reds games growing up. Didn't they do that? They would just, Concepcion, they would kind of bounce it to first base, and it would be like a perfect throw. They might as well use it off the hard turf.
Yeah.
Not a great trade-off to someone tearing their Achilles.
No, it's not.
But there was definitely a lot of those little bounce throws to first base on a ground ball.
I think Aaron Rodgers is in a better mood today just because of that.
Hope.
Yeah. He'd be like, but remember when the Reds, David Concepcion, used to bounce?
How awesome was that?
Though? Yeah.
Perfect throw on a bounce.
While you're laying in bed right now with your leg up, watch these highlights.
Yeah.
Go to YouTube and watch some of these highlights. It's worth it.
It's worth it. I don't feel that bad.
Gotta find the positive somewhere.
Hey, Aaron, surgery is imminent. It's gonna be tomorrow morning. But did you hear Fritzy on the Dan Patrick Show talk about Davey Concepcion?
Yeah. He used to bounce the ball off the turf.
That's so cool that they would do that. I'll be back next year for the Jets. Everything's fine.
That's awesome. Yeah.